This is the evolution of the chicken. First, I'm going to go over the theory of evolution by Charles Darwin. The theory of evolution is a scientific explanation that species evolve over time by the process of natural selection. The theory was first published by Charles Darwin in The Origin of the Species, 1859. Darwin had several arguments to reinforce his idea. The struggle for existence was one of his main propositions. This stated that the environment couldn't support excessive offsprings. This leads to competition for limited resources such as food, water, and shelter. In other words, it was a survival of the fittest. Heritable variation was another reason for this theory to come to life. The idea suggested that individuals with genetic variations best suited to current environments and selected for and would pass of their genes to offsprings. Darwin would also believed in common descent, which means that all living organisms share a common ancestor. As species develop through the process of natural selection, new species arise while others may go extinct. This video will highlight the theory of evolution, specifically the theory of common descent of the chicken. To understand the evolution of the chicken that we know today, we need to understand its habitat, diet, and taxonomic classification. Chickens inhabit a diverse range of ecosystems from mountainous regions to lowlands. Chickens are more commonly found in coops where they are provided with shelter and other accommodations that ensure their safety. Chickens in their natural habitat may feast on seeds, grains, and insects, sometimes even small reptiles, whereas the domesticated chickens are fed a balanced, nutritious diet by their caretakers. The chickens belong to the class Aves, which is a class that all birds come from. The chicken also falls under the order Galliformes, which includes other birds like pheasants, turkeys, and quails. Within the Galliformes order, chickens are part of the family Phasanidae. The first common ancestor is the Archaeopteryx. It was alive 150 million years ago, and its scientific name is Archaeopteryx lithographica. Although both Archaeopteryx and chickens are both classified as a bird in the class Aves, their taxonomic levels change after the level order in the taxonomic scale. Archaeopteryx belongs to the extinct order in Archaeopterygiformes and family Archaeopterygidae, which are exclusive to the ancient species. This species is an important transitional fossil between non-avian dinosaurs and modern birds since it has the characteristics of both. On the other hand, chickens belong to the order Galliformes and family Phasanidae, which includes pheasants, partridges, and other related birds. The two animals share their kingdom, phylum, and class. Both Archaeopteryx and chickens possess feathers, which are defining characteristics of birds. Both Archaeopteryx and chickens have wings that are adapted for flight. Both Archaeopteryx and chickens have beaks, which are adapted for eating and pecking. That is the comparison between the chicken and the Archaeopteryx, which shows their evolution and how they are a common ancestor of each other. The second common ancestor is the Velociraptor. It lived between 90 and 60 million years ago, and its scientific name is Velociraptor mongolianus. A vestigial structure is a body part or organ that has diminished in functionality compared to its ancestral form, so it means it no longer serves a purpose. These structures were functional for parts of ancestors of an organism, but lost their purpose as evolution occurs. These structures provide evidence of evolution since it proves clues and ideas about common ancestors between different species. Over various generations, natural selection favored the animals with the modified structures, which ultimately led to the loss of the ones that did not have them. The vestigial structure in chickens is their tail. Chickens have a short, stumpy tail compared to the long, balanced tails of many dinosaurs, including the Velociraptor, which is claimed to have a tail at least 1.2 meters long. This tail was used by the raptor as a support for their body mass and to provide stability when leaning forward. The reduced tail in chickens is a remaining feature of the longer, more functional tails seen in the dinosaur ancestors. The third common ancestor is the Dromaeosaurus. It lived between 80 to 65 million years ago, and its scientific name is Dromaeosaurus abortinus. Natural selection is a process in which common ancestors give rise to multiple descendant species, each adapted to different ecological niches. This diversification occurs when species encounter new environmental opportunities or challenges, leading to the evolution of distinct traits and adaptations that enable them to exploit specific habitats. It promotes biodiversity by reducing competition and allowing species to thrive in diverse ecological roles. Basically, another part of this is if an animal has a mutation that's beneficial, it will survive. If it has a non-beneficial mutation, it will not survive, as it cannot pass on the mutation because it does not have the sufficient way to live. Characteristics that the bird shares with the Dromaeosaurus are modifications of the forelimb, allowing for a flexible function. This is thought to have changed into the bird stroke. The Dromaeosaurus were also believed to have begun growing feathers on their forearms, leading to the belief that they had developed their feathers, though for insulation purposes and to help regulate their body temperature. Over long periods of time, feathers began to serve other purposes like flight, display, and camouflage. In the case of the chicken, feathers are still used in cold environments and give chickens the ability to glide. The fourth common ancestor is the Albertosaur. It lived between 73 and 69 million years ago, and its scientific name is Albertosaurus sarcophagus. What are fossil records? Fossil records refer to the preserved remains or traces of organisms from the past that provide evidence of past life on Earth. Fossils can include various types of evidence, such as bones, teeth, shells, imprints, tracks, and even traces of soft tissues. These remnants are typically found deep in the Earth's layers. They fossilized over time. The fossils offer clues into the evolution and interactions of organisms that lived in the past. Scientists can reconstruct ecosystems, inspect the evolution of species over time, and understand these organisms adapted over time. That can all happen by looking at a fossil. It's important to note that the fossil records are incomplete and biased. Many factors, including the rarity of fossilization, geological processes, and the deconstruction or non-preservations of certain types of organisms, contribute to the gaps in the record. Nonetheless, even with its limitations, the fossil records remain a crucial tool for understanding the history of evolution of life on Earth. While scientists examined the fossils of the ancient dinosaurs, they found protein found in the connective tissue of the Albertosaurus, which shows a relationship to several birds, including the chicken, as well as the protein fossilized dinosaur skin, which was also found and examined by the University of Alberta. The researchers described the skin as bumpy and tile-like. This is like the bumpy skin of a chicken. The fifth common ancestor, and my personal favorite, is the Tyrannosaurus rex. It lived between 68 to 66 million years ago, and its scientific name is Tyrannosaurus rex. So, adaptation and variation. First, what is adaptation and what is variation? Adaptation refers to the process by which an organism becomes better suited to its environment over successive generations. It involves inherited traits or characteristics that enhance an organism's survival and reproductive success in a specific environment. Adaptations can be structural, physiological, or behavioral, allowing organisms to better cope with challenges, find resources, avoid predators, or produce more effectively. Natural selection plays a significant role in the process of adaptation, as individuals with the advantageous traits are more likely to survive and pass on those traits in the future generations. Now, what is variation? Variation is the difference that exists within a population or species. It has a different range of traits and characteristics of species. Variations can happen through the genetic mutations. Natural selection acts as it provides the basis for the differential survival or reproduction of individuals with certain beneficial traits in changing environments. Variation can be visible, such as differences in size, color, shape, or its genetic material. So, adaptation refers to the process of organisms developing traits, and variation refers to the differences that naturally select with existence with a population of species providing the basis for adaptation through natural selection. This is how it relates to the chicken. Theropods, which are types of dinosaurs described with characteristics of sharp, curved teeth, three-toed feet, digits with sharp claws, and long, hollow bones. Theropods gradually evolved into bird-like forms. Over millions of years, the dinosaurs underwent various changes in their anatomy, such as the development of feathers and their skeletal structure. Throughout their existence, theropods exhibited a remarkable range of body sizes from small to large, just like the Tyrannosaurus rex. However, it is their transition towards bird-like forms that captivate scientists and enthusiasts alike. One of the most prominent developments was the appearance of their feathers. Initially, these feathers may have served as an insulation or for display purposes rather than for powered flight. However, some theropods, such as the famous Velociraptor and its closer relatives, possessed feathers that likely aided to help them move and balance. They took on these traits because they were beneficial for the organisms. They got these variations through genetic mutations, which is a random occurrence. The organisms can get negative and positive mutations. The organisms that can get beneficial mutations usually survive and pass on the mutation since they are able to survive. The chicken wasn't always a small animal that lays tasty eggs. It evolved and adapted from many ancestors just like the great T-Rex. As evolution occurred, there were many mutations as well as relocation, which ultimately assisted the evolution to the chicken as we now know.